Hello, I'm Jen Stockman, and I want to welcome you to the first session of the War on Your Voice mini course. And this book is my favorite book, not because it's the best book ever written, no, but because it's the story of Jesus coming to find me. It's the story of Jesus leaving the 99 and showing me I'm the one when I was stuck in a lot of places in my story. And your story is the only story you will ever have the leading role. You can't jump over in mine. You can't jump in your favorite author, the one who wrote your favorite book. You can't take the leading role in that story. The only story where you get to fill up all of your space is your own story. And I am here cheering you on to take that seat as the leading lady, the leading man in your own story. And, so often we're not engaging in the war on our voice and fully happening in our life. Our voice being the sound, the uninhibited, the unrestricted sound of who you are and who you belong to. We're often not engaging in that war because we're not aware that we're in one. We haven't considered that we're living below who we've been created to be. That before the foundation of the world, before any of your story took shape, you existed in the heart of your Creator. That He had the dream of you, where you had one moment of rejection, before you had one moment of trauma, one moment of loss, before any of the suffering on the earth, before any of the dreams and the passions and the desires and the delights that you would experience on the earth, before you tasted and seen any of those things, you existed in the heart of God. And your most pure expression of who you were created to be on the earth comes from His heart. And the blood of Jesus, the mercy of Jesus, the power of the gospel is us living fully surrendered to the price Jesus paid for the whole of who He created us to be, to live free and happening on the earth. And, our need for breakthrough is found in the places that we feel stuck. Stuck is actually a gift when we use it as a door to discover the lies that we're believing, the places that we're living below the fullness of freedom, that it is for freedom that Christ set you free. And I remember the first time I got invited to speak. I just had a little tiny snippet. I was going to ministry school and it was a little ministry trip. And it was the first time I had ever spoken publicly. And I was so nervous. I don't even remember what I said. I just know the feeling I felt after I was done was terrible. And I just thought, I will never do that again. I will never do that again. And 2 decades later of preaching the gospel and speaking publicly, it was honestly a huge source of joy and fulfillment in my life, a part of who I've been wired to be on the earth, that it doesn't matter who or how many people are listening to me, because the fulfillment is not in that. The fulfillment is in who He created me to be. And, when I wrote this book, I had dreamed of being an author. I love to write since I was a little girl. And the dream of one day writing a book was like a magical unicorn in the sky. And dreams are so magical in the air. And it's not until we actually pull them into our reality that they become a sword that starts to confront every lie, every inner limitation that is keeping us stuck from actually possessing the land that we've been wired and created to possess. And so, what is in your heart? What is it? A book? Is it a message? Is it the dream of speaking freely to important people in your life, of speaking your mind honestly, of creating a business, of creating music? Whatever it is in your heart that wells up when there's no fear, when there's no anxiety, when there's no self-judgment and diminishing the value of who you truly are. And so I just want to encourage you that today, take some time, take some space, and consider, am I living below who the Father created me to be before I existed? Am I living fully present in my own story? Or am I working super hard to try to have the center stage in someone else's story through their approval, through their affirmation, through their validation? Or am I living from a place of fullness because I've pulled dreams out of the sky and I'm doing the work, the blood, sweat, and tears of becoming the person who can inhabit those dreams and live out loud, live free? And you know, your voice significantly matters on the earth for such a time as this. Not because of first who's waiting to hear it, but first because it's who you've been created to be, because it's who your creator fashioned to be. And what does he know about your sound that you do not yet know? And you know, one day one of my girls was really little, several years ago, and she was just laying in my lap and I was just rubbing her back, and I noticed this little freckle on the back of her ear, and I had never seen it before. And I thought, that is the cutest little freckle I've ever seen. And I just smiled, and I was just delighting in this little freckle. And I had this thought, she will never know this is here unless I tell her, unless I show her the delight on my face. She can't see the back of her ear. And in that moment, I just tenderly felt the Father echoing back those thoughts to me, that there are things about you that you are living unaware that are there, but I'm delighting over even now. There's intentional things I have put inside of your heart, inside of your mind, inside of your creative expression that it's impossible to know about without seeing the delight on your Creator's face. And this is the number one thing Jesus came to do, was to reconcile us, to restore us back to our access to the Father's face, to our access to his delight, to his smile. It's impossible to discover who you truly are without the one you came from. Self-discovery will always fall grossly below really discovering who you are in the context of the one that you come from. And so I just want to encourage you today to spend some time just exploring, what does the Father know about me that I don't yet know? What does the Father see in me that it's impossible for me to see without proximity to his gaze, to seeing myself in the reflection of his eye? And as followers of Jesus, if you are a follower of Jesus, you have decided that every other opinion about who you are bows to the opinion of Jesus. That to call him Lord means the opinions of others, even my own opinion, is not informing my value, my worth, my significance. That true lordship means every opinion bows before him. He gets the highest place. And so today, when you think about your voice, your expression of creativity, of goodness and beauty on the earth, ringing with no limitations, what would that be like? What would that feel like? What would that sound like? To be as free as Jesus dreamt you to be, to pull everything that's maybe stuck in the clouds right now as a magical unicorn into reality, exposing the war within us, those inner limitations that are keeping us stuck. So today, spend some time exploring. Is there a war happening within me that I am not aware of? Jesus paid an extraordinary price that I could live as free as he dreamed I would be. Thank you so much for joining me today. I bless you.